Ready.
3, 2, 1. Hello and welcome to YQL Real Talk, the podcast about everything related to living in Lethbridge and the Lethbridge Real Estate Market. And today we're doing the monthly market update. Now, if you guys have been tuning in, you'll probably notice that if you're at least watching, not listening, you'll notice that we have a little bit of a different setup today. And that's because the usual podcast setup is at my house most of the time, and we're packing up and we're moving. So we're in one of these show homes right now, which is one of the Prestwick units that we actually have listed. They're a commercial space down below, residential above. They're kind of cool. They're all staged, so we thought we would do it in here today.
Mm-hmm. And you may have noticed that I am not Brett Gurr. I am Murray Wall. So
yeah, Brett's usually the one that does it with me. He's on vacation, so why not get Murray on here? Maybe we'll get some other members on the team to sub Brett in and out as well. So before we jump into the numbers, there is a little bit of news that's been happening. It's been kind of crazy lately. We're a little bit late on this market update, but it's actually kind of a good thing because there's been some crazy news that's come out with the last 2-3 days. Mm-hmm. The first of which is yet another interest rate hike. Boo.
Yeah. Then another one. Yeah. 25 basis points puts the overnight lending rate at 5% now, which they're saying is the highest since 2001. So
yeah, which is crazy. Thanks a lot to, I know the Prime Minister does not choose the interest rates, but I don't know. Something tells me that if you just compare who the Prime Minister is now to when the interest rates were at this price 20 years ago, who was the Prime Minister then? Mm-hmm. Are they related? Yes, they are.
Yeah.
I don't know. Seems a little sus to me, but who knows? What do I know? So yeah, interest rates are up again. And of course, the Bank of Canada, not the Prime Minister, the Bank of Canada is doing this to try to slow down inflation. So about a day before, I think it was Monday they did interest rate hikes, or Tuesday?
It was last week, Wednesday, I believe.
Last week, Wednesday?
Yeah.
So then it was the following day or the following week that a new number just came out, and they said inflation is now down to 2.8%, which is the Bank of Canada's target range is between 2 and 3.
Yep.
So interest rate hikes went up, and it seems to be working. Inflation is coming down. Now that it's at 2.8, everyone's thinking, well, are we going to finally see rates at least hold and no more increases? And apparently, I was watching CTV, and they were interviewing somebody from Bloomberg News, and they're like, well, no, because the two biggest categories that's still fueling inflation is grocery prices and mortgage costs. Mm-hmm. So they're like, okay, so they're going to increase mortgage rates again to help soften how much a mortgage costs? Yep, probably. Is that going to help grocery prices come down? Increasing mortgage rates? Is that going to help grocery prices come down? Absolutely not.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm not entirely sure what their plan is here, but yeah, the difference in year over year is 30% on mortgage rates. People are paying 30% more on their mortgage this year than they were at the same time last year. So,
which is crazy. Like you bought the same price of house, like prices in Lethbridge are been pretty stable. We haven't seen a big increase or decrease. A 350 house last year is pretty close to the same thing this year. Mm-hmm. Maybe they've gone up a little bit in price, but your mortgage price is just so much more expensive.
Yeah.
Right? Like, thank goodness we are so affordable here compared to anyone else. I've been saying this for a long time. I said this in one of my other podcasts, and actually the TikTok that got pulled from it, like we pull lots of shorts out of these, the TikTok that got pulled from it, I was saying that as mortgage rates increase, if you're in Vancouver, Ontario, Toronto, or anything like that, and your mortgage is like $1 million, 1.5, 2 million, and your mortgage cost goes up 30% when you have to renew.
Yeah, that's a big hit. Yeah.
Out here, it's like, let's say your mortgage is like, I don't know, $1,000. Now it's $1,300. Wow, that sucks, right? Like it's another $300. Could you imagine if your mortgage was like $1 million and now it's like another $1,500 or $2,000 a month? Like that's killer.
Yeah, I think it's with a 25% increase or a 0.25% increase, it changes your mortgage by $16 more for every $100,000 that you've borrowed. So we've had a couple of those $16 increases or 25% increases.
That's just from the 0.25 increase, right?
Yeah. So
imagine if you had a mortgage at under 2 or even at 2, and now it's at 5 when you go to renew. Like, crazy.
Yeah.
And what my prediction was then is that as people start to renew in Vancouver, in Toronto, they're not going to be able to afford to renew, so they're going to have to sell. And then when they sell, they're probably not going to be able to afford to buy back into their market. I've heard that a lot from out-of-town buyers. So they're like, where am I going to go?
Yep.
Welcome to Lethbridge.
Exactly.
What was the other one? There was CTV just came out with an article. CTV Lethbridge, I guess. They said home sales and builds on a decline in Lethbridge was the title, and home sales were down. And I was like, are they really down? And according to them, we had the slowest June since 2007.
Oh, really?
With 200 homes sell in June, which I thought was pretty good. I mean, last year was like a record-breaking year, and we had, where's my numbers?
Last year, 234 is what I have here.
I have 234. I have 229. So whatever. We're freaking 30 houses short of last year, and this is a record slow season. Like, that's a very misleading headline in my opinion. Yes, it is slower than last year. Last year is an outlier. We talk about this every podcast. Now, our building starts down. Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
But that's not because of demand.
And that's across Canada too, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah. I mean, new builds are just getting so expensive. Like the materials to build them, labor shortages. That's another one that's been cited in another article that I read. Specifically in Lethbridge, every trade is struggling to get people to work. So if you're in the trades and you need a job that pays well and you want to be in an affordable part of the country, again, welcome to Lethbridge.
Yep.
But yeah, I will say that new housing starts are down, but that's not because the market's slow. Right? It's just because it's more expensive and they're very cautious about building and they don't want to get caught with a bunch of inventory.
Exactly. Yeah.
But because I guess this kind of leads into the numbers. So I guess if we look at homes sold, current month of June, I had 200 homes. We had 200 homes that sold in June. May so the previous month was 229. So we're down a little bit from there. 181 and 150 if you keep going back in those months. Last year at this time, like we just said, we had 234. Actually, yeah, I had the same numbers. And then the 5-year average is 151.
Yeah.
So we're still better than the average month. Yet that article saying that we've had the slowest June ever.
Yeah, you know, they want the clicks for sure. They're just looking to get people to click on it. But if you actually look at the numbers and if you're paying attention to it, it's not that out of the normal. I mean, it's
actually better than normal.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? If our average sales are 151, we're doing well. And so yeah, we have slowed down a little bit as compared to last year. Nothing crazy. The average home price, which we'll get to, is staying. And like, if you're like, well, why is the market kind of slowing, but prices are staying, all these numbers will kind of tie into it. So average day on market is 57 for last month. Before that was 58. So we're actually getting a little bit shorter on average day on market.
Yeah, pretty much identical. I mean, 1 day difference isn't going to...
Oh no, that's hot.
Yeah, it's a hot market. Get in there. Get in there quick.
Yeah, pretty much the same as last month. And then we were at 65 and 64. So as these summer months go on, less time on market, everybody, especially I feel like right now, if anybody wants to get in before end of August and school gets back in, it's like a frenzy right now because everyone's like, I need to get in before school starts if they're moving from out of town or whatever. Even in town, like you don't want to be moving while your kids are going back to school and stuff. So
exactly.
This is kind of like the mad dash at the end of the season to get everything done.
And yeah, that's the thing in Lethbridge as well. Like we're seasonal, just like any market, and we have more sales in the summer than we do in the winter generally. And sometimes the peak lands in June, sometimes it lands in July. And because of that it looks like maybe our June numbers are lower than normal, but that maybe the peak was at a different time than
we'll see what happens
than previous years.
We'll see what happens in July for sure. This time last year, the average day on market was 53, and the average 5-year average is 78. So we're still crushing that 5-year average.
Yeah.
Every month this year has crushed the 5-year average so far. So that means it's a good market for sure. Active detached homes on market. currently in June, there was 342, 337 before that, 329 in April, and 330 in March. Same time last year, so June of last year was at 402 compared to 342. And we keep talking about how last year was an anomaly. We'll never see a market like that again. Now, average home sold is not as crazy, and average day on market is actually less too. Average day on market is a little bit longer than it was last year, not by much, by 5 days. But the inventory that we just talked about kind of with new home builds is extremely low. Yeah. So that's right there. That's why prices are staying high and there's high demand, and why average day on market is down is because if there's somebody looking, there's just less to choose from. So there's less bargaining power on the buyer side and there's less to choose from. So instead of choosing from 10 that you might have been able to choose from 3 years ago, you can choose from like 5. And then as you're looking at them, one will get an offer. So now there's 4.
Yeah, exactly. And that limits the amount of homes that we're able to sell because there's just less homes to choose from. So yeah, it's not that it's a slow market at all. It's just, it's tight out there.
Yep. Supply and demand. When there's low demand, when there's high demand and low supply, prices go up. That's just how it works. The 5-year average, so just to put this in some more context, the 5-year average for active homes on market is 640. So we're at like half of what's supposed to be on the market. Crazy.
Yeah.
Crazy.
And we're not even close to half the amount of houses sold. So yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So like I've been on a couple CMAs this month, and everyone's like, well, is it a good time? I keep hearing interest rates. Who knows what interest rates are going to do? They're probably going to keep going up according to what all the news articles are saying, but there is nothing on the market. So if you have a home that shows well, it's going to sell. Now is like a great time. When you get into September, October, things do start to slow down. It's not that they're going to sell. They just might take longer, and you might not get as much for it because there could be more on the market, but who knows? That's why we do these every month to try to see what's going on. We were a little late with this market update too, and I found myself being like, geez, I wonder what the market is doing, because I'm busy showing houses and writing offers and stuff, and I feel busy, but I'm like, they see these articles come up and I'm like, maybe it's not as busy as I think. Like, oh my God, I got to do a market update. So
yeah,
good exercise. Last one that we usually talk about is, you might have some more numbers. I think Murray did some research too. But the one that I always like to bring up is average home price as well. So June was $346,500 was the average sale price, which is slightly up from last month. Again, pretty similar, $345,000, and then it was $335,000 before that, and then in March was $341,000. So continually increasing slowly. Again, if you compare this to last year, it was actually $347,500. So the average 5-year average is $310,000. So we're definitely up on that 5-year average. But prices are holding very steady compared to last year, even with interest rates going from 2 all the way to 5.
And what I found interesting is I looked into, that's the price for all houses in Lethbridge, including like attached houses, apartments. But if you look at
detached townhouses, whatever.
Yeah, if you look at just detached houses, so we're actually up quite a lot on our detached houses. So this year, in June, it was 396, 395. 396,000, and then last year it was 389,000.
Wow!
So we're up $16,000 on detached houses.
So the average sale price was $390 for detached.
Yeah, 396. Yeah, so
crazy.
Detached houses are actually up quite a lot, and but for whatever reason we're slightly lower. So maybe attached houses are.
There's probably just more condos,
more volume on that.
More attached houses selling.
Yeah.
Which is probably accurate, because as detached prices go up, it's more affordable to look at townhomes. Look at the Prestwicks that we're in now. Right beside us is the Edgertons that we also have listed. Those are selling like hotcakes right now. Like it's wicked, and they're a nice townhome. But I think that goes to show that with detached prices going up, nicer looking townhomes are also very affordable too and look pretty attractive. So crazy. Any other numbers you'd like to go over?
Yeah, our list price to sale price in June is 97.5%. So what they listed it at, there's about 2.5% negotiation room when it actually does sell, and that's across the board. Not saying you're going to get 2.5% off on every house, but Lethbridge,
some are you'll get more than that, some you'll get less than that. That's how the average works. That's what I always tell clients.
It's pretty close to our houses are priced pretty well, most of them anyways, but obviously you want to be working with someone to make sure that the house that you are offering on is priced correctly, so you're not totally out to lunch. But last year it was a little bit tighter. It was 98.8%. So and last month was 98, April was 98, March was 96.7. So
I'm glad there's a little bit of variance here because they're so close on a lot of things that it's kind of boring. It's just like, still the same.
Yeah.
Join the market update to hear the exact same numbers. Just kidding. They do change quite a bit.
Pretty steady at 2%. And that's pretty common.
Yep. Which is good. So overall, I mean, I always like to ask the question, what does this mean if you're a buyer? What does this mean if you're a seller? If you're a buyer, there's not a lot out there, so things are moving pretty quick. I always make sure, you just have to make sure that you have your pre-approval and that you're ready to go. You really don't have time, especially if you're in that $300,000 to $400,000 price range. Those ones are moving extremely quick. So if you're like, hey, this house just came up, let's go see it. And you're like, I have, I don't know, some prior engagement. Can we do it tomorrow? There's a good chance a house might have an offer by then. So you do have to really move on those if you're a buyer. If you're up in the higher price range, probably 500 plus, you do get a little bit more leeway, and those ones are sitting a little bit longer just because they are a higher price point. Get a lot of people from out of town asking. They'll see a house that's $650 and it's been up for sale for 80 days. And they're like,
what's wrong with it?
Yeah, well, there must be something wrong. Do you think we can get a deal? And it's like, no, the average is 60. So some are going to sell more. This is a higher priced home. It's going to take longer to sell. There's just less buyers in that category. Now, if you're a seller, again, if you're in that $300,000 to $400,000 price range, you're going to get an extremely good price for your home, and it's probably going to sell quick. As long as it shows well. All the marketing is done on our end. I love listing $300,000 to $400,000 homes because they're not quite stress-free, but they're a lot more stress-free than a big, luxury home that's going to take longer to sell. There's a lot more elbow grease has to go into those than those average price homes, which are very affordable to a lot of people. So that's why they're still going. Yeah, I don't know. I always, on these CMAs, everyone's very worried about listing for some reason. I don't know why they're worried about listing, that their house isn't going to sell, or they're not going to get the money they want for it. But when we sit down and do the CMA, I'm like, here's the number that you're going to get, and everybody seems happy with it. But with interest rates, maybe it's because they're worried about getting in their next home. I just find that people right now are a little bit leery about listing, and obviously you see that with how little listings
we have. Yeah,
there are. But if I can, public service announcement to everybody, don't worry if your home is priced properly, all the marketing's done, it's still a great market and it's still going to sell. Fairly confident on that.
Yep. And I guess we're in July now, so we're halfway through the year, and I don't know what it should be an interesting last half of the year, because this time last year that's when they started raising the interest rates, and we saw a big drop off in the summer, which is kind of unheard of for the summer market. But this year people are getting more used to the higher interest rates, and I say higher, but 5% is historically actually low compared to, I think the 10-year average or 15-year average is 7% interest. So anyways, people are getting more used to it. And
I feel like that happens every interest rate hike. It's like people take 2 weeks off. They're like, oh my God. And then they get their numbers back. They talk to their mortgage broker. Then at least they can start budgeting again on what their new pre-approval rate is, for example, or what their new monthly bills are going to be. And then once they get those numbers back, then the market starts to pick up again. That's what I found anyway. I don't know. We'll see what happens again after this last hike. Obviously, the people that have their pre-approval in, like I keep telling people to do, if you would have got your pre-approval in last week or 2 weeks ago at this point, you would have been locked in at the old interest rate, not the new one. That's why it's very important to get that done. And then let's say you get your interest rate locked in now, next month it drops, well then get pre-approved again, then it'll go down. So there's no losing.
No losing, and lock it in for 90 days. And yeah, if it does go up, that could save you a significant amounts over the course of your mortgage term. So
for sure. Anything else? Oh, I got one more news story. I was just on TikTok this morning, and there was this realtor that was going through another CTV article that happened out in BC. And what the article was is there was like a husband and wife who owned an apartment. They split up, so the wife took off, and he was staying at the apartment. I shouldn't say the wife took off; she just moved out. Husband stayed at the apartment, and then Airbnb'd the apartment. And in the strata docs, or the condo, we call them condos in Alberta. In BC, they call them strata. And in the strata docs, it says that you cannot rent your apartment for anything less than 30 days. Well, he Airbnb'd it for 30 days. And the the strata company was trying to sue the husband for $1,000 a day that he had it booked on Airbnb. So $30,000. So they went to court, and this could change like everything when it comes to Airbnbs and condos. In the agreement with Airbnb, you're not renting the property through Airbnb. You're licensing, like you're paying Airbnb to license the unit. There's like some wording where it was like you're licensing it. So when you're licensing it, that means that you're paying a company to procure this place for you, and then you can use the space according to this licensing agreement, but nobody's actually renting it. It's like going through this like weird path. So
it's like renting without renting.
Kind of. That's how Airbnb has it on their site. And they went to court, and the strata company like lost. So this guy actually won and was allowed to Airbnb, even though there wasn't any short-term rentals allowed at the strata company. So start Airbnb your condos and see what happens.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, that I'm sure condo places all over are going to be looking at that and having to reword their agreements, because if that is the case, then yeah, what's to stop people from doing that?
And I honestly, maybe it's just small town mentality of me that I don't understand it, but I always think it would be a good thing if you were to Airbnb condos. Like if you could buy a condo and Airbnb it, I think the neighbors or people that live there are like, well, I don't want it as a rental. Well, you can rent it as a rental. You just can't rent it as an Airbnb. So what's the difference? With Airbnb, you actually get, I think it's 2 million or 1 million more. It's either 1 million more or 2 million worth of extra insurance on top of your own insurance. So you actually get more insurance. Airbnb actually, like they I don't know if they pre-screen the people that are using the Airbnb, but they have like a number rating system or whatever. So the people that I know that have an Airbnb, if somebody's over a 4.5 star and above, like on their ratings, they get automatically approved. Anything below that, you have to look into it. They're usually short term. You can't have parties at an Airbnb, just like you can't have parties at a rental. So it's like, do you know why people wouldn't want an Airbnb beside you?
Yeah, it's just a new technology, and people don't like change. I think that's
probably
that's definitely has something to do with it. And
I think most people at the end of the day are just like, I just don't like it. I just want to know who's going to be next to me.
Yeah.
Well, I could rent it out to anybody. You're not going to know who they are till it's too late. Then you're stuck with them for a whole year.
For a whole year at least. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Another news article was rentola.ca says that Lethbridge is the safest city in Western Canada. So they compiled all the crime data. And as some of you may know, Lethbridge does have some crime, as all cities do. But as far as violent crime to non-violent crime, we're really low on the violent crime. So turns out that we're actually safer than any other place in Western Canada. We ranked ninth in all of Canada, actually.
Finally, because I was watching another TikTok. Who knows if these TikToks are worth anything? Maybe I'm spending too much time on TikTok. But I was watching another one, and it's another news outlet out there, like Vice or something. I don't know. Daily Hive or something, and they put out a TikTok saying that Lethbridge was like the it was second in Canada for crime severity index. And I was like, this is total BS, because my mom she used to work downtown East Hastings in Vancouver. There is no way that downtown East Hastings, Vancouver did not make the list, and Lethbridge is number 2.
Well, it's because Vancouver's population's so big, so East Hastings is such a small part of it. So
whether that's per capita though,
Yeah.
like, I don't know. Like,
Yeah.
that's what I mean. The numbers are kind of skewed on that it doesn't make any flipping sense, and it drives me absolutely bonkers.
Yeah.
Because then if you Google Lethbridge, this article comes up, and it's like, I can't remember who was like in the top 10. Surrey was on there, which I understand there's lots of like shootings in Surrey. But the fact that Vancouver is not on there is crazy. It drives me absolutely freaking nuts. And like sleepy old Lethbridge is on there.
Yeah.
Like, yes, there's crime in Lethbridge. There's crime in every city.
Yeah.
Most people that move here from out of town, especially from Vancouver, they're like, I had one client, he was actually on the podcast a while ago. When we showed him like 3 houses, and he wanted to be kind of closer to downtown if he could find something. And he was like, okay, Kurtis, I got to ask you something. Everybody keeps talking about all this crime here. And he like looks left. He looks right. He's like, what crime? He's like, I've seen like, I don't know, 4 homeless people or something. Like, there's nothing. Like, I remember last year we had like that, there was that encampment or something. There was like 4 tents, and they got taken down right away. We haven't had one since.
Yeah, no tent city anymore. And
exactly. And if you look,
it wasn't Lethbridge specific either. There was tent cities on all major populations.
There still is.
Like across Canada.
Yeah. Lethbridge doesn't have one anymore. Vancouver still has them. East Hastings, the whole street is tents now. I went down there. Every time we go to Vancouver, we always take a drive down East Hastings. Obviously, my mom works there, or used to work there, but he's kind of on the way, and it's something crazy to see. Like, I don't know. There's like, how do you even help that? I don't know, but we always drive by, and every time we drive by, like every year I go back, it gets worse and worse and worse. And somehow people have the gall to complain about Lethbridge crime.
It's lots of people that haven't lived in another place other than Lethbridge, so they don't really know how good they actually have it here.
True.
And when people, we're helping lots of clients come from out of town, and they see it and they go, wow, it's like amazing, so family friendly, this and that.
Yep.
But yeah, obviously there's going to be crime there. If you leave your car unlocked, they might get into it, but you're less likely to get mugged in the street. I mean, I haven't heard of anyone getting mugged in Lethbridge recently. So,
or pickpocketed.
Pickpockets. Yeah.
Have you seen the Italian girl on TikTok? I watch too much TikTok.
Apparently.
Have you seen it? No.
Yeah. Well,
there's like this old lady, and she like runs around, and she'll find. Well, she sounds like an old lady. I don't know if she is actually, but she must always have her phone out. But she's always catching people pickpocket in Italy. You ever been to Italy?
Yeah. And there's
rampant
like
for pickpockets.
Signs everywhere saying like, "Watch out for pickpockets."
My grandpa got pickpocketed actually on a bus. But there's this old lady with her phone, and she'll like, she finds somebody pickpocketing, she just screams in their face like in Italian or whatever, "Attention, pickpocket! There's a pickpocketer here!" And they get all embarrassed and run away.
Well, there's
not in Lethbridge.
There's a niche for everything, but if you wanted to try to catch pickpocketers in Lethbridge as your TikTok career, I think you're out of luck. So
yep, exactly. I don't know what you would do in Lethbridge for crime. I don't know what kind of TikTok you'd start in Lethbridge for that. Who knows?
Yeah,
I don't know. Maybe. Can't think of anything. Leave your car unlocked with your phone in it and hope people come and steal your change. I don't know.
Yeah, you might. You'd have to have a good battery bank because you'd have to leave your phone running for a while.
Yep. Anything else for this month? No, I think we're good to go.
No, I think that's everything. Cool. It's steady as ever in Lethbridge, and it should be an interesting last half of the year, and hopefully the Bank of Canada sees that inflation rates have gone down and they stop raising their interest rates.
Fingers crossed, man.
But yeah, from what I understand is they say they're going to hold it until at least 2024. That's when they're going to get down to more of 2%. Right now we're at the high 2s. So But yeah, it doesn't seem like we have a whole lot more to go for inflation. But the main thing that seems to be propping up inflation is one, grocery prices and housing prices. So if you want inflation to go down, lower the interest rate and then it'll go down, right? I don't know. I'm not an economist.
Well, I think if anything, we got to keep it, like we need to stop raising it. Like it's going to catch up. If it's at 2.8 now, I think if you stopped it, everything else will catch up. Food prices, that's raising interest rates is not going to help food prices. And that's what sucks right now. Going to the grocery store is absolutely freaking horrible. I'm sure you've seen it. Everybody's seen it.
Yeah.
It's like one bag of groceries is like $100.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what's really cheap though, good, and I have a little guilty pleasure over it. It's just like getting junk food, like frozen pizza pops and stuff. Horrible for you. So cheap though, like $30 will still feed you for the week if you wanted to be a total dirtbag.
You can get a 56 pack from Costco for like I don't know.
Yeah, pizza pops, corn dogs, you name it.
Yeah.
Live for $30 and be extremely unhealthy. Yeah, that's what it's come to.
That's the way to go.
Well, thank you again for joining us on another monthly market update. My name is Kurtis Hawkins, and this is Murray Wall. Be sure to check out Murray Wall's YouTube channel as well. He does lots of home tours and I think you have your own market update as well every month. I do. As well as home tours and videos about Lethbridge. That was the other one. Those are like the 3 categories Murray does, so be sure to check him out too. I'll leave a link down below. I guess we'll see you guys on the next one.
Peace.
Goodbye.